I know you're gonna dig this.
And now, heard across the world, it's time for Third and One with your host, Ryan Hyde.
Man, he messed around, lost connection. So,
shit.
Game over.
Game over. All right, Manny. Welcome to episode 7 of Third and One. Today's guest was a CFL All-Star in 2015 and 2016 and spent last season with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Please welcome to the show, Manny Arceneaux.
Man, what's up?
How's it going today, Manny?
Man, it's all good.
It's good to have you on.
Yeah.
So, standard question for me these days. What have you been up to during the the COVID pandemic?
Man, training as usual. I work on that as a strength and conditioning coach at D1 Sports, but I just started my own business, Manny Show, training youth wide receivers from middle school up to the pros.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Must keep you busy.
Oh, yeah, it definitely does, but it's a good kind of busy. You know, got to be able to take care of the family and take care of myself.
For sure. I've seen a lot of your videos on Instagram, and you're definitely staying in shape and you're ready to go. So.
Oh, yeah, got to keep that axe sharp. Never know.
You never know. So you grew up in Alexandria, Louisiana. What was that like?
Yeah, small town, man. Kind of remind me of like being in Regina a little bit, but more of a city's vibe to it. You know, everybody knew everybody, small town type of spot. But it was good though. Dealt with a lot of adversity, different obstacles, but they kind of prepared me for life.
What age did you start showing an interest in football?
I would say around 2021.
Okay, so that's kind of late, isn't it?
Yeah, it was kind of late. Yeah, I played 1 year in high school, got injured, finished the year, got a scholarship. But it was like when I had that opportunity of being like, man, you can go to the NFL after 2010 when I was with the BC Lions. And I was like, man, you know what? This just might be the path I need to take and really stick it out with this football and play as long as possible.
So I've read that you were too small to play high school football until you grew a full foot going into your senior year. What kind of challenges did you face before you grew?
Man, just like, hey, you're too slow. You're not big enough. Just all the you're not, you know? So there wasn't too much I can do about that. I mean, had a growth spurt, got me some talent, and took it from there.
The rest is history, as they say.
Right.
After high school, you played 4 seasons at Alcorn State University, where you hauled in 99 receptions for 1,618 yards, 12 touchdowns. You also maintained a 3.0 grade point average. How important was it for you to do well in the academics?
That's the biggest part. You know, you're a student athlete. Student comes first, so I was always about my academics, getting my grades, and staying on top of that stuff. Big, you know, a lot of athletes, man, think you can just go play football, but the biggest thing is getting a degree, having your school paid for, so why not maximize that opportunity that you get?
2009, you made the move up north to the CFL, signing with the BC Lions. Did you know much about the CFL before you signed?
I knew nothing about the CFL before I signed. I just knew I needed to get my passport expedited and was on a plane to Richmond, Vancouver.
You had your first 1,000-yard season in 2010, finishing 11th in the CFL with 1,114 yards on 67 receptions and 3 100-yard games. At what point did you start getting interest from NFL teams?
I think it was probably, I would say during that training camp, Cause I remember a guy, what his name was, Dwayne Joseph. I think he was the scout for the Miami Dolphins at the time. I remember hearing from him. Then I had an agent I signed with Barty, and towards the end of that season, I mentioned the interest and being that he can actually give me an opportunity somewhere. But I really was just playing football and waiting on the opportunity that just was going to present itself. Yeah, so yeah, I kind of just was going with the flow of everything.
You spent the 2011, 2012, and 2013 seasons in the NFL with the Minnesota Vikings, the Washington Redskins, and the New York Jets. What was your time in the NFL like?
Man, it was good. A good learning experience, man. Learn the game, learn how to be a pro, seeing how things were ran, and I developed just a work ethic that was second to none. Like, that was big for me, just to make it to the biggest platform you can get to actually be active and playing. So, yeah, it kind of just set the tone from there on out, because even when I returned to the CFL, my work ethic and everything never changed. I actually stepped it up after going to the NFL and coming back, because I know you can't take them days for granted, because ain't nothing like getting cut and released, and you don't know when that next call gonna come. So that was my whole thing. Was I hated how that feeling felt. So my thing was to stay on the roster long as possible.
What are some things that stood out to you about your time in the NFL?
Yeah, man. On the outside looking in, you just think it's just all about talent, and these guys are just elite and awesome. But once you're in that locker room, you're like, man, hold on. They put their pants on one leg at a time, just like me. But it was like just knowing that it was just so much about politics and the pedigree of like the school you went to, and it's a whole bunch of hoops you got to go through. But once you make it and you can settle in and become that guy or one of those guys that fit their system, that's what you want. You want to be a system guy.
In May of 2013, you made the move back to the CFL, signing again with the BC Lions. After your previous time with the Lions, did you feel like it was a homecoming?
Yeah, man. I wanted to go back to where I started my career at and just see if I can just play long as possible, be able to make the plays, get the fans engaged, just giving them everything it was I had in the tank, not knowing how long that was going to be. But to be able to return to where my career started was the biggest thing for me, to be honest.
Okay. So you earned your first West Division and CFL All-Star honors in 2015 when you recorded 1,151 yards on 76 receptions and 9 touchdowns. How did it feel to be finally recognized as a CFL All-Star?
Man, it was all right, but nobody liked me. I'm probably one of the most liked and hated receivers at the same time due to my style of play. It's physical. I talk a lot of trash, so everything I do isn't just by the book, and I have an unorthodox style of my physical play. Nowadays they go for the prima donnas and potential, but I left everything out there on the field. So for them to finally recognize me as an all-star, it kind of felt good, but I felt it should have been a no-brainer because nobody else was doing what I was doing, other than you look at a guy like a Nick Lewis that don't mind being in them trenches. Then, S.J. Green, super consistent doing what he does. But other than that, you just had guys that was just pass catchers. They ain't block, do none of that. But to finally be recognized was big. But I guess the antics and my style of play, a lot of people don't like that.
Yeah, you are the complete package.
Yeah, I'm out there trying to embarrass you, break your neck if I could. But
What's the worst piece of trash talking you heard said to you, or what was the worst thing you've said back?
Yeah, I can't say that. They might fine me, and I'm not even on the roster right now.
All right. What started the Manny Show?
Canada. Because to be honest, that's the only place that actually call me Manny. A lot of people don't know my name is Emmanuel.
Right.
Everybody figure my name is just Manny. But Canada, I don't know if it was the announcers or whoever, they stuck with the name Manny. It kind of caught on. And then I was thinking about how can I brand myself? What is it I can do to kind of, become like a fan favorite or a household name? Well, I just went with the Manny Show and stuck with it. Now it's a business. It's still a brand. And people in Canada forever know me by the Manny Show.
Yeah, we do. As you see, I got the number 84 up on my wall. Manny Arceneaux.
Okay, yeah, I see a clone of that thing over there. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's BC Lions, but it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
So in 2016, it was a career year for you. You had 105 catches for 1,566 yards and 13 touchdowns. What made you and Jonathan Jennings click so well together that year?
Man, we trying to keep our job. Look, it's trying to keep that job, and it's just all about being consistent. And, man, a lot of balls he threw me, I wasn't open, but he trusts me. And that was like the year of the 50-50 ball. So we just was like, if they're going to give it to us, we're going to take it. And it's just trying to find ways to win games. And you put the ball in your playmaker hands, even though a lot of my receptions don't come until the weather started getting cold and the leaves change colors. So I just went on a run.
Yeah, you and Brian Burnham both.
Yeah.
After another great season in 2017, where you had 100 receptions for 1,137 yards, you were injured on August 25th, 2018, in a game against the Saskatchewan Roughriders when you went down with a torn ACL. At the time, did you think that was going to be your last game with the BC Lions?
Yeah, man. You know when them injuries come, you never know what to expect. But, man, the BC Lions organization was so good to me, man. Having guys like a Wally in there, Dennis Skolsky, George Shaika, Neil, and folks that believed in me. I believe I got 2 or 3 extensions being injured with the BC Lions, having like injuries at the end of the year and then bringing me back, knowing my work ethic, believing that I'll be healthy by the time camp roll around. So, it's just unbelievable how things played out for me. Regardless of what the injury was, they continue to give me a shot and opportunity and let me earn my play on the field because my position was never given to me. I showed up each year in camp as if I was a rookie off the streets.
So you signed with the Saskatchewan Roughriders in February of 2019. How did you feel about playing more of a limited role with the Roughriders?
I kind of, I had to be a pro about the situation. Did I like it? No. Was I very appreciative of the opportunity? Yes. Because it helped me in tremendous ways off the field. But just to be able to have those guys, man, just look up to me and take all the criticism that I had, it showed me a lot. And that's kind of let me know what my niche was when it was going into coaching and actually being relatable to these athletes. But sometimes you gotta know your role and execute it, and that's something that I did. I was always present, be where your feet are mentality. So, but it was good to be out there and finally get on the field. But no one likes a limited role when you go from being an impact player for so many years and then coming into a situation, you can easily not accept the role and leave. But I know it was kind of bigger than football for me this past season. It was a whole lot dealing with growth and that transition of what if that is my last time putting on the cleats and strapping on the helmet. You kind of never know. You get up in age or you have an injury here and there and people feel, hey, you know what, maybe he ain't got it or maybe he lost a step. But that has never been true. I'm out here doing one-on-ones now faster than what I was the past several years. But it's just all about, man, having a GM and organization that kind of believe in you. But, yeah, you just got to make sure everything worked in your favor. But the opportunity in SAS was a good one for me, and I enjoyed it.
Is there talk of you re-signing in Saskatchewan at all? Have they offered you a contract?
Nah, man. Once I left, I haven't pretty much heard anything From the CFL. I usually go to the little CFL news thing on Twitter, see if it's anything new or guys that I played against. We kind of stay in touch, but I just been in grind mode, man, and it's just in my DNA to work how I work. But if a team was to call and brought me in to compete for a roster spot, I'm for sure still a number one, two receiver. And I go against anybody on any roster up there, still to this day, because I know what I'm capable of. But, you got to get the next wave of guys ready, this next generation of guys going. But if a team needed a savvy vet that know how to lead, know how to win, they know my number. I ain't hard to find. So that's all.
Hopefully this video helps get the word out there.
Yeah, nah, they not dumb. They very smart. But sometimes, hey, pride, ego, can sometimes stand in the way. Because you can wait to develop some new talent that might not got it. Because a lot of you look back, a lot of these guys aren't proven. It's just potential, but inconsistency. But at some point, that has to be developed, and I understand that. But you know, as a vet, you know how it is. You got to have that GM or that one coach that's gonna always bring you wherever he go.
Yeah. Do you think there's going to be a CFL season this year?
From the talks of it, it seems like it ain't gonna be anything because everything's being delayed. But sometimes things can be delayed for things to actually work. So it can go either way, being delayed because it won't be one, or it's being delayed because they're actually trying to resolve issues. But I kind of think, man, guys that it's in the U.S. or in Canada, this pandemic was good to show a lot of them you're more than just a football player. Don't let that consume all your time and your energy. Figure out who you are as an individual. The sucky part is those checks not rolling in. So from a financial standpoint, a lot of guys took a hit that caused them to adjust, caused them to get a part-time job and actually spend time with family that would never be spent being away in Canada. But I think this pandemic was probably one of the best things for all athletes, especially the ones in Canada that just figure, hey, football is who I am and it's what I do. No, it's just your occupation. So I think it gave a lot of individuals that slap in the face of like what reality really is.
I agree. Completely agree with that. I was pretty surprised recently to hear the league come out publicly. I mean, Farhan Lalji made some statements about some progress the league was making to hopefully come up with a season. And then a couple of days later, I saw that Solomon Elimimian came out and basically said that that was all a bunch of garbage. So yeah, I'm pretty surprised on what's going on.
Yeah, you got to keep the people entertained, keep the hope there, keep them intrigued as a writer and announcer guy, and they figure everything he says is true because he got the inside scoop. But hey, you can't trust everything you hear.
Certainly not. So I've always been a big Manny Arceneaux fan, or Emmanuel Arceneaux, since we're right.
Yeah.
I've always been a big Manny Arceneaux fan. I was at your last game with the Lions, and I was at your first game back with the Riders. And I just wanted to say, watching you whoop it up with the fans in the fourth quarter of your first game back in BC really pissed me off. It was you, Purifoy, and Elimimian whooping it up kind of behind the bench there in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Was that kind of like a jab to the ownership and coaches of the line staff?
Man, nah, that was to the fans because they know Manny loves them. Always have. Whether it was at a game in public, anywhere in Vancouver, it was always fan first, regardless of where I was at. Picture, autograph, just kind words. I always made time for the people, as I still do. Because like I said, football isn't who I am, it's what I do. And that's just my personality. And to have those fans cheering, whether they was in the green and white or the orange and black, it was all love. And I'm always do that because And someday, like you ain't gonna have that 8-4 that's on the wall no more. So what people gonna think of you outside that jersey? But the respect they have for me as a person and also as a player go a long way. So that's why I will always have time for a fan, a time for an individual, because you never know the different battles people fight and what they're dealing with on a day-to-day basis. So if my personality, smile, and words of encouragement can help them, why not do that? That takes zero energy, just to be a kind person and not be an asshole, as some athletes are labeled, So nah, I'm always give the people what they want, and that's a show.
Yeah, I remember one of the games I was at. I was waiting for Mike Edom to come out, and you happened to walk by, and we got a picture taken together, and you even had your son in your arms, and
Yeah.
that never stopped you, right? And I really appreciated that, and it speaks volumes for your character. So,
Oh man, appreciate that.
which defensive backs were the hardest for you to play against?
Man, I had some battles, man. Brandon Browner was a good battle back in '09 and 10. Um, Dwight Anderson, I would say, was probably like one of the guys I had the most fun going against that challenged me, that played. Jeff Tisdale, the old school cats back in the day. You had to line up against, a Sanchez, John Gerard Brown that was with Montreal. Who Sash used to have Omar that was the boundary corner. Patrick, what his name, Sam Patrick, or whoever those guys was back in the day. I think the '09 and 2010 CFL defensive backs was more challenging than the 13 and to now defensive backs.
Okay.
Because yeah, so the old wave of DBs brought more of a challenge because you got to think they switched the rules, took out the clutching and grabbing and the PI. So it's more finesse and boys waiting for interceptions now, other than playing that man to man defense and actually up in your face being gritty and grimy. Now it's about how clean do I look in my uniform, and it ain't that. You ain't got to worry about nothing with these DBs now. Like there's no threat. It's just they out there.
I think too. I mean, the amount of penalties in the CFL sometimes gets a little ridiculous.
Yeah, especially when they not working in your favor.
Yeah, no kidding. Who have been your biggest inspirations so far in your career?
Like far as a player or
Yeah,
just in
yeah, like players.
man, I would just say, man, like a Travis Lulay. Having a Trav around, a Solomon Elamimian, Jovan Olafoye, them kind of guys that I've always gonna keep in touch with on some big brother type relationships. With Jonathan Jennings, Lemon. We still have lines of communication that's open, but I would say Travis over my whole career has probably been that biggest inspiration. And just to see the battle that he fought to even try to come back and get on the field, to get taken right back off, to come back again, and character so good. Hell, just hire him in the front office of the organization. So just being around a guy like that was tremendous because the jewels he gave gonna help you in life off the field. So I think Travis, man, was a huge inspiration, and Wally Bono as well.
What has been the biggest adversity for you to overcome so far in your career?
The biggest adversity for me, I would just say, man, just sticking to control the things you can control. And that's just my energy, effort, which boils down to my attitude. Because it's easy to get caught up in I'm better than this guy, I'm better than that guy. Why I'm not on the team? I should be playing. I know I can do this or that, but it ain't always about you as an individual. So you got to really buckle down and understand that control the things you can control. because once you get outside of that, million and one things can be spinning around your head, and you don't have this me against the world mentality. That's normally not the case. Everything has its season. Everything happens for a reason. Don't go trying to figure out the why.
Gotcha. I've learned that over my life too. Definitely, is things happen for a reason, and sometimes those reasons take time to present themselves. So,
right, yeah.
What's next for the Manny Arceneaux Show?
Man, what's next is just the family, man. I'm gonna continue grinding. Might try to get in me some triathlons or Tough Mudders coming up, Ironman type training maybe soon. Keep that window open. If it is a season this year, next year, you never know. Somebody might bring me in just to be that role model to teach these boys what it takes to be a pro, and just continue to grow my business as a wide receiver skill coach here in North Dallas. So that's what's next for me. And just hoping this real estate, my wife got a license, so hoping that take off and we can switch sides, and I can be a stay-at-home dad and take my kids to sports while she sell homes.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
All right. And now it's time for this episode of Oh, You Didn't Know with the Manny Show. Michael Jordan or LeBron James?
LeBron James.
First car?
Ford Crown Vic.
Favorite music artist?
Kim.
Okay. Tom Brady or Drew Brees?
Oh, Uncle Tom.
Favorite NFL team?
The Saints.
Okay. Shower or bath?
Man, a shower.
Thank you. Dude, some people have said bath on here, and then they get into reasons. Yeah, it's shower all the way. Worst thing you ever purchased?
That Crown Vic.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do aliens exist?
Man, nah, I ain't seen one.
All right. What scares you the most?
Oh, man, failure.
Failure. All right. So I'd like to say thank you for coming on to this episode of 3rd and 1. And we're hoping to get some X lines together and do a show together. Me, Steven Adekalu.
That's my guy. I just FaceTimed him 2 days ago.
Oh, really?
My guy. Yeah,
did he talk to you about that?
Nah, he was in the middle of some auditioning in Vancouver, so it was just a quick call. Yeah, you know, he's into the acting and stuff. But we stay in touch. Yeah, definitely. Adekalu. Good people.
Yeah, he's a good cat. So me and him have kind of been working together. I've got Paseko Lacombo on board with it.
Okay.
Jeremiah Johnson as well. And Stephen was going to try and get Stephen was going to try and get Mike Edom as well, and whoever else wants to do it. I mean, if you know some X lines that want to chop it up one day.
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely look into that.
All right. Thanks again, Manny. I really appreciate it. Thanks for taking the time to come on today.
Thank you for the call. All right.
Thank you for joining us this week on this episode of 3rd and 1. Please remember to subscribe, leave a review, or share this show.